A very warm welcome to all of you in my YouTube channel. My name is Gautam Kumar. Today I am going to teach about English literature's very prominent poet P.B. Shelley. This is third and last video about P.B. Shelley's life and important poems. If you want to know about more P.B. Shelley, then first watch my first and second video. Let's start P.B. Shelley's some other important poems. The Revolt of Islam. The Revolt of Islam is Shelley's poem in 12 cantos. It is composed in 1817 and published in 1818. It is in Spenserian stanza. It is originally published with the title Lone and Cynthia, or The Revolution of the Golden City, a vision of the 19th century. It is dedicated to Mary Shelley. Cynthia is a heroic lady. Her mission is to bring about the liberation of mankind. Her work with Lone raises the spirit of revolt against the people, against their tyrants. The revolt succeeds for the time being. The tyrants bring desolation, famine, and plague with them. Lone and Cynthia are burned alive. The poem shows Shelley's reformative zeal and regard for the well-being of humanity. It glorifies liberty. It also glorifies love. Let's see P.B. Shelley's next poem. Julian and Medola. A Conversation is Shelley's poem of 617 lines. It is in heroic couplet. It is in dialogue form. It presents a conversation between Julian and Medola. It is based on the theme of the power of man and potency of human mind. Julian is Shelley's while Medola is Byron. The power of innocence and good is reflected through a little child. The little child is based on Claire Claremont's baby, Allegra, Byron's daughter. Here are the popular lines from Julian and Medola. Most wretched men are cradled into poetry by wrong. They learned is suffering what they teach in song. Let's see his next most important work, Ode to the West Wind, which is generally asked in many examinations. Ode to the West Wind is Shelley's ode in 5 sections in terza rima. It is written in the autumn of 1819 and published in 1820. The poet presents its appearance, its action, and its message. Its appearance is wild and tempestuous. Its action reveals itself as a preserver and a destroyer. It drives the deal's loves. It carries the seeds and deposits them so that they may sprout again into life. When spring comes, the wind is the trumpet of prophecy. If winter comes, can spring be far behind? The message is the message of hope. The poem demonstrates Sally's minute observation of nature and her object. Let's see P.B. Shelley's next most important work, A Defense of Poetry. First, Shelley's A Defense of Poetry was originally written in 1821 in response to Thomas Love Peacock's The Four Ages of Poetry. Shelley begins his essay by distinguishing between reason and imagination. He defines reason as logical thought and imagination as perception, arguing that reason respects the differences and imagination the similitudes of things. Shelley states that poetry is the expression of the imagination of the poet. Poets using their imagination imagine and express the indestructible order. A poem for him is the very image of life expressed in its internal truth, the creation of action according to the inhensable form of human nature as existing in the mind of the creator, while poetry is which makes beautiful that which is distorted. Poetry for Shelley are not only the authors of language and of music, they are the institutors of laws and the founders of civil society. They are the unacknowledged legislators of the world. Poets have the power to transform society. Gerald Lucas states that Shelley believes poetry to be divine, since it provides the seeds for all of humanity's creations, religions, institutions, politics, philosophy, and technology. Let's see Shelley's next work, Ozymandias. Ozymandias is Shelley's sonnet. It is written in 1817 and published by Hunt in the Examiners in 1818. Ozymandias is a Greek emperor. Ozymandias is the Greek name for the Egyptian pharaoh Ramesses II. The sonnet is concerned with the vanity of human greatness, the powerfulness of death, and the transitory nature of human life. Ozymandias has been a powerful king, but today he has passed into oblivion. His status lies in ruins. The status may be colossal, but it is a speak in the West Desert. Man is a puny creature before nature, though he has high opinion of himself. Ozymandias is dead. The sculptor who made his status is also dead. The poem is very compact. The poet succeeds in packing the whole matter within the narrow compass of 14 line. Okay friend, it's end. In next video I will describe Byron. Okay, bye.